Hi there, everyone. Welcome once again to the TrainAid HQ. My name is Nick, and in today's video, we are looking at the Level 3 Award in Education and Training course and how to answer Unit C, Assessment Methods and Criteria 2.2, which is explain the role and use of peer and self-assessment in education and training and the assessment process. So to answer this question, you need to explain the term peer assessment and how it's used within teaching, and also to explain the term self-assessment and how this method is used within teaching as well. So let's delve into this question. And as you can see here, you have to complete two boxes on what is peer assessment and what is self-assessment first. So peer assessment, what is that all about? So peer assessment within teaching is the process where your learners are reviewing each other's work and performance. So this is fantastic. It's a great effective tool for learners to be able to give each other some feedback instead of relying on the teacher giving individual feedback as well. So it allows for you, the teacher, to take a step back and get your learners to give each other supportive feedback on their performance or on their written work, whatever it may be. So it gives learners that opportunity to verbalize their fellow classmates' strengths and areas for development as well. So this approach promotes learners' functional skills, so the ability to read perhaps their classmates' work, and also language as well to provide effective feedback. So they need to think about how best to give feedback, and it encourages active engagement as well. So it promotes listening skills, empathy. It boosts your learners' confidence as well. And it also, a key advantage, it gives your learners the opportunity to be more aware of perhaps the grading criteria, what meets the pass criteria, and it also encourages the sharing of ideas as well. So I use peer assessment or peer feedback a lot within my classes, especially when teaching the Level 3 awards in education training, because learners can swap over their laptops, they could read their current assignments, and it's a fantastic way of ironing out any mistakes. So before the work is submitted to the teacher for marking, if you do peer assessment, those little mistakes or tweaks, they can be changed by the learner before it's formally marked by a teacher as well. So it's a fantastic way for learners to actually establish whether or not their current assignment is fit for purpose, whether it's accurate, and it makes the actual process a lot smoother with marking learner work. So here we have my definition. So peer assessment is in teaching is a process where learners review and evaluate each other's work or performance. Instead of solely relying on the teacher's assessment, learners will provide feedback on their peers' assignments, projects, or presentations. This approach promotes, as we know, functional skills of literacy and language, as it encourages active engagement, critical thinking, and a deeper understanding of the subject matter as well. So within your assignment, I'd like for you to write a paragraph on what is peer assessment. If you've done peer assessment within your current teaching role, if you're currently teaching, do include your own examples there, because we like to read those. Now we're on to self-assessment. So self-assessment, as we know, is a way of encouraging learners to review and evaluate their own learning. So it is the process of giving learners the ownership or responsibility to critically reflect upon their progress and to highlight their strengths and acknowledge area for development as well. So it's a fantastic way of learners to think about their own selves and to take responsibility for their own progress. So for example, if learners keep a diary or a progress log. It's a fantastic way for them to input what's going well on their course or qualification, and to highlight areas for development. So the learner is becoming more independent. They're becoming less reliant on the teacher. They start to think for themselves, and it's a great way, once again, to promote the functional skills of literacy, because they're writing their own their own thoughts as well. So they can obviously set their own targets. They're more accountable for their own development, and once again, they're becoming less reliant on a teacher as well. So within our courses, we get learners to complete a self-evaluation form after their lesson observations, for example. So they are becoming more and more aware of their teaching performance, and looking at areas for development as well. Okay. Excuse me. So once again, we're looking for you to complete a paragraph of information on what is what is a self-assessment there. Excuse me. So we're just going to move on to the benefits of peer and self assessment. So we've got some examples here of the benefits of peer assessment to begin with. So it's a promotion of learners' language and literacy skills, the promotion of team cohesion, and also increased learner motivation when they give that to each other. We've also got self-assessment as well. So we have increased accountability. It promotes problem-solving skills, promotes goal setting, and it enables you to track progress as well. So here we have a table. We have the benefits and examples of peer assessment and the benefits and examples of self-assessment here. So what we just need to do is we need to look very much at the benefits of each one. And we're looking for a minimum of 3 benefits of peer assessment and 3 benefits of self-assessment, and you can use those as a bit of a guide. Once again, in terms of level of detail, we're looking for a paragraph, a small paragraph on each one. So I'll talk you through just a couple that I've created. So in terms of the peer assessment, we have promotion of language and literacy skills. So as learners are working together to provide each other with constructive feedback, this helps the learners to promote their literacy skills, so reading, and language skills, so speaking and listening. So learners are becoming more confident. They're sharing their thoughts, opinions, and ideas as well. So it's a fantastic way to boost learners' confidence with those skills. Another key strength and benefit of peer assessment is that it promotes team cohesion and group cohesion. So learners are not working in isolation. If you put 2 learners together, they're going to work together, to be friendly, to be approachable to each other. They're going to get to know each other, and they're going to be mindful of each other's strengths and areas for development. So it's a sense that learners can learn off each other, and they can obviously help each other to bridge the gap in terms of their course progress. So they're almost going to be coaching one another. And I think in terms of giving feedback, learners are more receptive. They listen to their fellow classmates much more closer than a teacher. So a teacher giving feedback, it can be one way, but I think with peers, when they work together, they're more confident. They listen to each other more closely, and take that information in a lot more better than a teacher. Increase learner motivation. So I think another one is learner motivation, that they're actually taking on board the information from their fellow classmates, and this is going to give them that sense of purpose and direction as well. It gives them small targets to achieve, as mentioned in my previous point, that learners will feel perhaps more valuable and valued when they receive peer feedback and a pat on the back from their fellow classmate if they've done a good job. Obviously, with peer feedback, it needs to be carefully managed, because learners need to know about what meets the pass criteria, so that they're not giving too much praise or the wrong praise, or marking some work incorrectly as well. So you need to be careful with peer assessment there. In terms of self-assessment, well, we have increased accountability. So if we look at self-assessment, this is where the learner themselves is reflecting on their own performance. So it could be through a self-evaluation or a diary, or a PDP log. So they're reflecting on their own work. Through regular self-assessment opportunities within lessons will help the learner to gain the opportunity to reflect on their strengths and areas for development. The learner will become more independent, understand the course criteria better, and become less reliant on the teacher. So I think that's a really good thing, is that they are accountable for their progress. They're reflecting on what went well and what could be improved, and they're not going to do the same mistake over and over again. If they recognize what they've done is incorrect, you know what, they're not going to repeat that same behavior or practice there. Another key thing I quite like is self-reflection promotes problem-solving skills. So when learners are writing their self-evaluation, they could come up with possible solutions for the next stage of their course. So they could come up with some ideas, some targets, and methods to overcoming any adversities or things that they've got incorrect. So I think it's a great way through reflection and taking time out of their course or their day to reflect on what went well and how things could be improved. Another key benefit of self-assessment, as we know, is it promotes goal setting and to track learner progress as well. So it's a great way to ensure that learners set some small or medium or long-term targets, and they can be written, they can be recorded, so the learner can actually look back on dates that they've actually written down. And I think that's a fantastic tool as well. So I actively encourage learners to write down some targets and future dates. So it's giving learners some smart targets, and I think that's a fantastic tool as well. So once again, for the benefits, I'd like for you to write a paragraph in terms of level of detail there for each one, and again use my examples as a bit of a guide on the level of detail required, and you can choose the different types of strengths there using our examples, or you could select your own examples for that matter as well. But that is the overall benefits of peer and self-assessment. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next video. Bye for now.